Hey, what's going on, guys? Vinsky32, aka Vinny Violence here. I'm going to talk about something that isn't WWE and isn't fantasy football, and something that's kind of been bothering me for a while. And I just want to kind of break it down for you guys. So, real quick background: I joined the military in June 1st of 2001. And I joined to pretty much save face with my parents. My parents were paying for school. I went partying too much, and I decided that I was kind of giving them the raw end of the deal, and I wanted to go to school and have it paid for by the military. So that's what I did. And I didn't go into basic training until November 1st, 2001, and I live in North Jersey, so September 11th happened, and I got to experience that from looking outside of my house. I got to see the towers fall from right outside of my house. It was one of the most horrific things I've ever seen in my life. I'm sure to the world it is the most atrocious thing that has ever been broadcast on live television. And, you know, I had a new sense of patriotism because now I was joining the military and had something to fight for instead of just a college education. So I went to basic training, I went through AIT, and I came out and I was eventually deployed to Baghdad, Iraq in 2004. Stayed there from 2004 to 2005. I did a lot of security force details, escort convoy ops, and a lot of the Iraqi election team, coordinating it and making sure everything got together and we had a stable Iraqi government. Tell something about my experience there is that everyone that I served with was not white. They were not white. They were black, Hispanic, Asian, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, gay, straight. Guess what? No one gave a fuck, because the only thing that was important there was survival. The only thing that was important there was that the person next to me had my back and that I had theirs. It did not matter what we believed in, who we loved, what we looked like. Nothing mattered except the mission. The mission, the uniform, and our flag. And that is the only thing that mattered. We serve under our Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States. And no matter who it is, whether we agree or disagree with their politics or their policies, we follow their orders because they are our boss. I'll break it down to you like this. You work in an office building. Someone new becomes a manager or the owner, and they put in new policies that you might not agree with. What do? You listen to what they have to say, and you follow their orders. You may not agree, but you feel that's for the better good. And that's exactly what it was. Because the better good was making Iraq a stable country and protecting the lives of American citizens from foreign-born terrorists. So let's fast forward to today. So, we have riots in Charlottesville. Scumbag, neo-Nazi, white supremacist assholes. We're protesting the removal of a statue in Charlottesville. Yes, they are wrong. They're pieces of fucking garbage. But you also had people there that were protesting the removal of a statue for historical reasons. So we're going to have 4 sides here, and it's kind of convoluted, and I know a lot of people will disagree with me, but I'm just going to break it down the right way, kind of. Alright. You know, they have 2 sides to every story. There's actually 4 sides to every story here. So, you have the far-right scumbag, Nazi, white supremacist pieces of shit. Then you have the Antifa, scumbag, I'm going to cover my face, fascists, which is kind of funny because they're anti-fascists, but they're actually fascists, and I'll break that down for you in a little bit. And then you have people that legitimately wanted to protest the removal of a statue for historical reasons, and you wanted to have people that were protesting because they thought that the statue legitimately represented racism and the Confederacy, and it was a bad thing. Now, the people in the middle kind of had a solid ground because they both have their arguments. Auschwitz is still there after 72 years because the Jewish people said that they don't want anyone to ever forget what happened. We should not erase history. The monuments and the statues that are there are not necessarily to glorify the people that were involved. And I know that a lot of people would disagree with me, and I know that the people that were protesting for the removal legitimately with nonviolence, just like the people that were protesting to keep them up with nonviolence, we need to have a common ground here. You know, let's forget these assholes out here because they're assholes. If you're bringing bats and shields and helmets, you're both assholes. If you're looking for a fight, you're assholes. Okay? People right here need to come together and actually conversate. Let's not yell and scream and say you're a Nazi because you voted for whoever, or you're anti-American because you believe in whatever. Let's just have a common ground and let's have a discussion. And let's talk about why we feel a certain way. Yes, the Confederacy was obviously against our beliefs as the United States of America. No one's doubting that. But if you start pulling down everything because you're scrutinizing something, it becomes a slippery slope. Like the president said, I know many people don't agree with him, but George Washington was a slave owner. Thomas Jefferson was a slave owner. There were a lot of people that were slave owners. Now we're going to be tearing down everything, and we're going to be erasing United States history as a whole. Is that going to make things better? Is that going to make slavery disappear in the minds of everybody? Is that going to make injustices disappear? Is that going to make everything better? It's not. It's still going to be there, and it's still going to actually dig at the scars that are in our society. We're digging deeper into the scars and the scabs that we've never let heal. Now, like I said, I was in the military. I served with everyone. Everyone was my brother and my sister, and that will never change. I will hold that bond till the day that I die. My child is of a mixed race. Do I want to see him grow up with hate? Do I want to see him grow up with bigotry? Do I want to see him grow up with people saying something about his mother or his grandfather? Absolutely not. But I felt that at some point now, in 2017, we at least got past it. that we realize we are so civilized now in the United States of America that the wounds could be healed by loving one another, by tolerating one another, by embracing one another, by fighting side by side by one another for years, for decades. The civil rights era is over. That time has passed. Yes, are there injustices still in this world? Absolutely. Absolutely. But there is no way to fix it if you keep picking at the scab. The only way to fix it is to embrace each other, to love each other, to say, these idiots over here and these idiots over here are not what represents me. It's not what represents us as a society. It's not what represents us as a country. It's not what represents us as a people. We are the only ones that can change this. But blaming each other is not going to happen. Now, let me get back to the Antifa or anti-fascists. First of all, the fascist organization actually got its foothold because they opposed an election. Kind of weird, right? Secondly, the fascist organization actually used military tactics in order to have the populace agree with them because of fear, because of bullying, because they said everyone else was wrong. And that's exactly what's going on now. And it is horrible. We have people tearing down statues and burning down buildings and beating up people with clubs. For what reason? Because of a difference in opinion? In America, we're allowed to have a difference in opinion. That's what makes this country great. That's what makes this country America. You know, this flag that my family members have died for. They died for your right to have a difference of opinion. And that's okay. Just because somebody doesn't agree with what you say doesn't mean you get to beat them with a stick. Doesn't mean you get to burn down their house or their business or destroy a statue. It also doesn't mean you get to beat somebody because of their race or their religion or their sexual preference. We fought for the Declaration of Independence that said all men are created equal. We are endowed by our Creator. It blows my mind that this is where we are and this is where we've come from. This is how far we've come. We've come this far that we're going backwards. The Civil War was fought brother against brother, North versus South. And whether you agree with me or disagree with me, these statues and these monuments, especially at Gettysburg or across our land, show us that we don't want to be there anymore. We don't want to relive that past. But we are going to wind up fighting a war because of statues. How ridiculous is that? We are going to fight over a piece of metal which does not really mean anything, because all it is doing is having people tear open wounds that we haven't had open for 100 years. Let's get over it, folks. Let's be one. Let's be Americans. We have bigger fish to fry than each other. You know, we have existential threats, whether it be radical Islamic terrorism, whether it be North Koreans. We need to stick together, because a nation divided will only fall. Like I said, I've fought with a multitude of different races, religions, creeds, and people. And I've fought next to the greatest people this country has to offer, ever. And I'm sure that people in other wars will say the same exact thing about the people they fought next to. And I'm sure, I hope, that people in future wars will say the same thing. We look at one thing when we fight: an enemy. And it shouldn't be ourselves. It shouldn't be our brothers. It shouldn't be our kin. It shouldn't be our countrymen. It should be a real enemy. We fly under one flag, the United States of America. And I hope and I pray that all of you will just sit back and think about it for a second and realize that we don't want to raise our children in this world of chaos, that we don't want our children fighting wars that don't exist. We are all Americans. Let's start fucking acting like it. So in closing, God bless you all, and God bless this beautiful country of the United States of America. I love you all, and I hope we can all come to an understanding and become one.